Welcome to Spit Like a Girl podcast, my new podcast. This is episode 2, and it's colder. It's windier. It's a little bit snowier, maybe a little bit icier. And really, it's that time of year where I start to take out the heating pad in my office and put it on the table because it's that time of year when clients start coming in and saying, oh, it's colder, it's windier, it's snowier, I'm cold. So clients are pretty thankful when I put the heater on the table, and they probably think I'm being nice, but actually it's because fascia responds really well to heat. And I'm going to do a demo, which is why I have my slinky. And in my office, I actually have a drawing on the wall of what fascia looks like when it's happy or unhappy. And a handful of years ago, one of the guys that worked in the bike shop at the time came into the vault where I see my clients in the back of the bike store and drew a sad face next to my unhappy fascia. Actually, I tried to recreate it just for this podcast, and I will hold it up now before I go into slinky mode. Happy fascia versus sad fascia. Okay, so happy fascia. Really, what this is very, I would say, elementary, trying to demonstrate is happy fascia. The fibers of happy fascia actually are wavy, and they are congruent in relationship to each other. And so what that means is that in between the fibers, the neurons and the nervous system and the interstitial tissue, all of these things can glide and slide really well. So the communication throughout your system is pretty good. This is sad fascia. This is what fascia fibers look like under a microscope. I mean, again, very elementary and crudely drawn. If your fascia is unhappy, and as you can see, there's not a lot of space between the fibers, if any. And so the communication in your system is also not fantastic. And so the body moves slower, it doesn't glide and slide. Most people that come into my office to see me are here. Because if you have happy fascia, you're working pretty well. So this is just a little snapshot of what is kind of on my wall in the vault where I see clients. So this is the very base drawing version, but I will also, for those of us who are a little bit more, even more visual, I have my slinky. This is going to represent my happy fascia, because if your fascia is gliding and sliding really well, then it has the ability to expand and contract, and things can get in between the fibers to talk from the top and bottom of the system back and front. This slinky is happy. This slinky is not happy. It actually has a little bit of some unhappy fascial fibers in the middle of the system. So as you can see, if I pull it and try to expand it, this part and this part is opening and closing pretty well, but you have a sticky part here where it's representing the unhappy fascia, the unflexible part of your fascia. So not a lot of glide and slide in the tissue right here. So temperature, heating pad. Why do I put a heating pad on the table? I mean, I do like my clients, and so I do want them to be comfortable. We'll just definitely throw that out there for now. However, the other reason I put the heating pad on when it gets colder and why it's heater season is because the heater the heat element actually helps the fascia fibers kind of open up a little bit. So when I tell clients, especially if they're doing their exercises first thing in the morning, I tell clients to try a little bit of heat first. Use the heating pad. You can wrap it around your calf. You could wrap it around your ankle. I always do it on my back when I first get up to do my exercises. So there's a little bit of a nice element in this time of year where you know you can get up and put some heat on right away, which is nice. And then after the heat, for example, after you heat your back up, and I usually say 7 to 10 minutes. Some people like to lay on it longer if you have the time, but 7 to 10 minutes to kind of get everything warmed up. Then you can do your foam rolling on your back. You can do the foam rolling. You can do the tennis ball. And the tennis ball is a little bit of my go-to ball because lacrosse is really hard and our body does not want to be really attacked first thing in the morning when you're trying to do your exercises. So tennis ball is a little bit more give. It's a little bit more forgiving. The fascia will open it up a little bit. I tell clients in my office that if you have a really tight fist and another really tight fist, and then one's your fascia and one's a lacrosse ball, and you try to throw it together, it really just kind of repels each other. You need one thing to be a little bit more soft. So it kind of softens in to the fascia and allows it to get a little bit more flexible and get a little more give. So temperature is a highly variable thing in myofascial tissue, and this is quoted in one of my favorite books called Fascia in Sport and Movement. Fascia shows a higher peak force and stiffness in cold conditions. So in other words, an important fascial feature is heat relaxation. The fascia fibers help give us a better range of movement if they're a little heated up, if they're not sad, if they're a little more flexible. So in a weird way, the heating pad is a cheat sheet. It's a little bit of a, hey, we're going to get going and hopefully get moving soon. So if you can expand your range of motion by using heat and then creating some movement from that, I think that's a pretty good cheat. So the heat helps us get the movement pattern more quickly. And really what we're trying to do is introduce a new range of motion, a new movement pattern. So the heat, for some of my clients, they think it's kind of wimpy, like really, I would just put heat on. But if you're trying to heat and then you're trying to introduce something new, which is a decrease in restriction in the fascia to try to get the fascia more flexible, and then you're using that as a way to leverage a bigger or better or more functional movement pattern, then I think it's worth it.